Welcome everyone to the game between Magnus Carlsen here playing with the white pieces against a youngster named Havard Haug. Now Howard is born in 2010. He is from Norway. He's just an FM. But look at his Blitz rating. He is 2561. So clearly he's a Blitz specialist. I got to know about him for the first time when I saw this video by David Howell on the Take app where he was playing like one grandmaster against 100 players or something like that. And there he was in stiff competition from Howard for the first place. So it's amazing to see that at a World Blitz Championship, the two Norwegians are taking on each other. One can also say like it's the present of Norway chess against the future of Norway chess. The players shake hands and off we go. We have a Karo Khan on the board and Magnus goes for this very positional line with d3, tempting his opponent to take on e4 and trade queens, which Howard says, sorry Magnus, I don't want to go into an endgame against you. Takes. Now Magnus has the bishop pair, but look at this strong solid setup for black. Magnus goes g3. He wants to fianchetto his bishop on g2. Knight comes out to d7. Bishop g2 played. And now Howard is thinking. He brings his knight out to f6. The knight comes out to d2. Magnus finishing his development there. He's trying to defend the pawn in the center. Will castle soon. Bishop comes out to d6. Of course, white has more flexibility. White also has the two bishops, and you can see with Magnus pulling back his queen, he wants to play f4 at the right time. Black castles. Black's major argument in this position is that whatever is left on the board, these pieces are excellently positioned. Okay, how does black continue now? One idea is to go rook e8 and e5. That seems logical. He goes queen e7. And of course, you have to be very careful about the e5 move. But for now, you have two defenders and only one white piece defending that square. Rook comes to e1. I mean, I was wondering if Magnus wants to go f4, but he just plays it solid here. Rook f e1. And Howard is finding it a bit difficult to come up with a plan here. You don't want to be pushing your c-pawn, the bishop gets activated, e5 is a bit dangerous for the same reason. Magnus now takes and clarifies the situation, cd. And what do you do next? Aha, c4 to open up the diagonals here. After all, Magnus has the bishop pair. Excellent decision there by Magnus Carlsen. And now very careful, threatening to take the pawn here. He goes knight b6. So that if you take, he wants to take back with the knight and the d3 pawn would become very weak. But Magnus simply brings his knight out to f3. This is the thing about Magnus. He understands what the position needs. h6, a very calm move by Howard. I like this actually. To ask the question to Magnus, what is your plan, Magnus? What do you want to do here? Maybe a3 followed by b4 looks like a very natural move. He goes b3. That's also very interesting. He wants to put his bishop on this long diagonal here. Time-wise, both players have equal time on the clock. Bishop b4 attacking the rook. And Magnus plays his rook to f1. And what is Howard planning to do? Can he go e5 here? No, e5, I think there's pressure here. Oh, although there's bishop c3 to attack the rook and the knight. Oh my goodness. But he goes rook e8. He's preparing the move e5. Maybe Magnus can stop it with bishop b2. Putting the bishop on this diagonal is the right idea, I believe. You can see there Magnus not particularly happy with the position that he has, in the sense that there's nothing concretely working for him. I mean, if you play a3, the bishop could come to c3. So he goes bishop b2. And now a very good move for black is bishop a3. Because when your opponent has a bishop pair, he finds it. He finds it. Howard showing his class, showing why he is so strong in blitz. I mean, an FM having a rating of 2561 is crazy. Bishop comes to d4 and now he pursues the trade. Magnus takes it, queen takes and pushes d4. Changes the structure here, attacking the queen. Once the queen moves, c5 will come in to gain even more space here. He comes back, queen to c7 and now pawn to c5 seems like the logical move in this position. Magnus may be deciding between rook a c1 and pawn to c5. Which one is the better option? I mean, c5 does look like the right one here. But you have to be careful. c5, knight d7, b4, e5. When black gets that break in the center, black pieces could become alive. So he goes rook c1 and now Howard takes it, gets the hanging pawns here. Queen e7 quickly played. You can see him trying to put pressure on Magnus's clock. Rook f d1 played. These two pawns, which are quite strong right now, could also potentially become weak. If black can switch over the rooks, maybe that's a good idea. Rook c8 and rook d8. Howard maybe just trying to think it through. Yes, rook c8 played, a good move there. 1 minute, 1 second for him, 47 seconds ticking down for Magnus. I mean, you don't want to push c-pawn, knight comes to d5, he goes rook c2. A waiting game here between the two players. Rook d8, I love this rook shifts by the youngster. Rook b1 played by Magnus. He's eyeing the b7 pawn. Rook comes up to c7. Black has played this incredibly well. Bishop f1. Oh, not a move that you make happily for sure. Rook c8, putting even more pressure on c4. Rook c1. Magnus is bit on the defensive here, although white can jump with the knight to e5 next move. And Howard plays pawn to g6, queen e3, attacking the pawn, king g7, defending it, queen to b3 played by Magnus. These are the moves that Magnus plays incredibly well, where there's nothing happening, he just passes the ball to his opponent, knight d7. But Howard is not making errors. Magnus now threatening d5 because of the pin on the e file. 33 seconds for Magnus, 30 seconds for Howard. He goes queen f8. Not a happy move. a4, gaining space. b6, holding on. And now a5, sacrificing the pawn. Because if you get this pawn, the c pawn will be a passer. Queen a2 played by Magnus, defending the pawn but also attacking a5. There's no easy way to defend it. Maybe queen b4, knight goes to b6, pawn to c5 played. Pushing forward. Knight comes to d5, Magnus snatches the pawn, h5 played by Howard. He is playing well on the clock as well. Rook b2 played. Magnus would like to enter in on the b file, but there are no easy places available. Rook b8, he's offering a trade of rooks. Rook b1 takes, queen comes to d8. Setting up some discoveries here. Bishop comes up to g2. It's incredible how Magnus has managed to keep control here, not giving up his small edge since so many moves. But Howard also not letting Magnus increase his advantage. It's a battle of two people who are determined here. Knight goes back to e7, another excellent move. And now Magnus thinking, what's the next move? You know, he's facing stiff resistance from the youngster. Generally, people collapse against Magnus. Now knight f5. Controlling, yes, finds it. Controlling d6, attacking d4. Rook to d2 played. Rook to d7. And pushing the pawn. Can you capture here? No, but then the c pawn would be too strong. So he takes, knight takes, and Magnus goes knight d6. Maybe c7 was more accurate. He attacks the queen. Queen b8, found. If c7, there's queen b1 check. And some knight f3 business also to look out for. Queen e5. And now, check. Oh, that's a mistake. He had to find some knight e2 business there. Magnus finds this check, king f8, and now you can pick up here. Oh, although there's a discovered check. So he gives a check here. King g8 and picks up the knight, and well, somehow here he's managed to trick his opponent and Magnus wins it. And look at the relief on his face. Howard played an incredible game there. I must give it to the youngster. He really fought hard, made Magnus sweat for the full point, but eventually the GOAT got the point home. Let's analyze the final few moves of the game. Magnus pushes the pawn, rook takes pawn, rook takes, knight takes. Now c7 was perhaps the best move, or maybe queen c5, but knight d6 equally interesting, queen b8. Now the c pawn is too strong, but black has some counterplay with check coming in here and here. So queen e5 played. And now the point is, if you take knight takes c6, bishop takes c6, you could potentially play this position with two pawns against a piece, but maybe there was also knight e2 check. If you take queen e2, I have queen takes d6, king h2, I'm not sure, king g8, and try to fight on here. This was very difficult defense to find. He goes for a check, king h2, and now plays queen b2. The very interesting move, because if you push now, let's say for example knight e8 check was given, king f8, and now if you take for example knight takes f6, I was wondering if knight f3 works, but actually it doesn't, because bishop f3, queen e5, and knight d7 wins back the queen. So Magnus was anyway winning. He was very sure. He gave a check. If king takes e8, c7, c8 is unstoppable. So king g8, and then he lost a piece here, Howard, and Magnus went on to win. Excellent play by the world number one.